speaking of Baker Mayfield, I want to just take a moment. Let's hand out some flowers to these quarterbacks and some of these performances. I'm going to be nice to some of these quarterbacks.
Wow.
But, the playoffs are approaching. This is when quarterback play really matters. And interestingly enough, I'm going to start with the guy that's probably not going to make the playoffs. But Michael Penix Jr., in his second start, he's in a playoff race. He gets thrust into this when he thinks he's off for the whole year. Kirk Cousins struggles. He plays well in his first game, and then they go to Washington. And poor guy, they don't see the ball at all in the second half. So he's got very limited opportunities, but he's got the opportunity at the end of the game, down 7, to drive his team, tie up the game, or potentially go for 2 for the win. And what does he do? He converts 2 4th downs on the drive. And that last one, the touchdown pass with less than 2 minutes left, was a laser.
That was sick.
To Pitts. That was Kyle Pitts goes down, catches it right at the goal line. It was awesome. I want to just throw some flowers out to him because that's not an easy thing. For him to come in, for him, replacing Kirk Cousins, who, has been the leader of that team all year, and to do what he's done has been really impressive. One word of caution on Michael Penix Jr.
Boy.
Yeah, I got to throw this out there. He got engaged. And getting engaged during your rookie year.
That's dangerous?
It's dangerous. And here's why. It's not the first game you play. It's not the second game. It's the dreaded third game. I brought this up in regards to Josh Allen, but didn't realize that Josh Allen obviously is not a rookie. So this doesn't apply to him. His third game after his engagement was the Detroit game. 2 touchdown passes, 2 rushing touchdowns, 48 points. Michael Penix, his third game is coming up after his engagement. He is a rookie. The precedent of this, my rookie year, I get engaged. First game, come in. Light the world on fire. 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, 21-point comeback. Second game was okay. That dreaded third game, your rookie season after an engagement. Went to Minnesota, playing for the St. Louis Rams at the time. 26 for 45, 235 yards, 0 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. When I tell you, when I went to sleep for the next year, that damn Vikings horn.
That damn horn.
It just, even to this day, when I hear it, that's all I can think about. Not the first, the second, the third, maybe the 4th and the 5th interception in that game. Michael Penix Jr., look out, because the third game, your rookie year, after an engagement, it doesn't go well for most quarterbacks.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to have to worry about the skull chance, though. So I think he'll be okay. Speaking of rookie quarterbacks, Fitz, I got to talk about my guy.
Oh my
God, Daniels, baby.
LSU.
Listen, my son Michael had his Jayden Daniels jersey on last night. He's sitting there telling me, watching the game, he's like, Dad, I think ever since we went to the facility and I got to meet Jayden, I'm a Commanders fan now.
Okay.
I'm like, come on, stop riding. You're riding a winner. Come on, I know you. But you talk about this guy. Man, when you're talking poise, competitiveness, his composure in the game, obviously you look throughout the game, you watch this guy play, it's fun to watch. I mean, the throws, the, quick release, the ability he has to use his feet and make special throws from the pocket. And then when he needs to do other things. I thought one of the things I enjoyed the most is that last drive of the game when he just said, you know what? If I don't feel comfortable throwing it, I'm going to find a way to go get first downs. I don't give a crap what the play call is. That was like his version of changing the play call. I'm about to drop back, and I'm going to go run over here around the right, and I'm getting a damn first down one way or another. He was going to ad-lib his way.
I love when they had to take the timeout just because he was tired.
Yes. Gassed. Like, hey, dude, just I don't care what I call. You do whatever you want to do. That's what I feel like he's telling him on the headset. Like, hey, hey, Cliff, what you got? Hey, you know what? I'm going to call this, but if you feel like just doing something else, go for it. That's what it felt like.
The thing I've loved about him all season long, he's got Terry McLaurin, and Terry's obviously having a great year. He's finally got a quarterback in there to deliver him the ball down the field. But before Noah Brown got hurt, he really elevated him. Olamide Zaccheaus last night, he really elevated him as well. He's making the guys around him better, right? And as a rookie, that's so hard to do, to come in and to elevate everybody around you. And he just has that team believing. He's got the locker room believing. He's got that city believing. I mean, it's an unbelievable thing. And you forget that he's a rookie because he's smiling during that last drive. The run where he just stopped on the sideline and stepped out of bounds. Football's not easy. It's never been that easy for me. He makes it look so easy. And then you talk about his teammates. I mean, when you look at some of these quarterbacks, that's what I like listening to. I like listening to what the teammates are saying about these guys. And Zach Ertz just gushing about him in the post game and just how much he has changed that locker room and changed the vibe. And the last thing I'll say about a quarterback that you love, when he gets the ball in his hand with 2 minutes left, like even as a fan, you're like, this game's over. He's got it. Like he's going to do it. And when you have that belief in a locker room in a guy, that's how you know you have the guy, that's going to be there for 10, 15 years and lead this franchise.
Yeah, I think that's the key thing. You can learn a lot from interviews and comments and hearing guys not just love on him for the player he is, but even the confidence that they talk about their football team because of him. Like we got 5. You've seen all through the year little audio things like we got 5, everything's different, and it's like they almost believe in themselves more because they believe in him so much, and I think that's really when you talk about guys who are to elevate, that's one of the things. It's not like they make guys better. They make guys aspire to be better. Like they make guys go, you know what? I believe in myself more because that guy believes in himself. And so I think it's really cool to see. But speaking of LSU quarterbacks that are balling and playing out of their minds, is there anybody that epitomizes that more than Joe Burrow right now? Another LSU Tiger. I mean, dude, he makes it so easy and it looks like the game of football. They talk about in the broadcast, Joe Burrow said that it really feels like the game's slowing down for him. I was like, you think? I mean, the dude looks like he could do whatever he wants in a football game and just the little subtle things. I think I texted you during the game. It's like the one look where they're like, oh, yeah, I don't think Joe Burrow saw this guy coming from the right, but, he got the ball off in time. I'm like, no, look at the back view. He actually takes a drop to his left. And he's like, I know where I'm going with this football. And as long as I get it out in the time and the rhythm, I'm going to be fine. But I know exactly where my threats are. And he does it so smooth that you're like, oh, maybe he doesn't see the guy. No, he knows where he is. He just knows that I know how to adjust it and get the ball out and make those kind of plays that are rare. And I think Zach Taylor was right, saying that this guy's one of the best players in the world, Fitz, because I would say this, like, I think what's interesting, this MVP talk takes over everything and people get so obsessed with it. I think it's funny just realizing how mad everybody gets about what the MVP is or isn't and all these things. I think that there can be a lot of things that can exist as being true and not all have to do with the MVP. I think Joe Burrow is playing the quarterback position better than anybody in the world right now. I do believe that. Do I think he's the MVP of the league? No, because the Cincinnati Bengals aren't one of the best teams in the league and they're not that dominant. So to me, the most valuable player is a lot to do with the teams that are playing dominant football, and they've got a guy who is one of the most valuable pieces of why they're playing dominant football. And so I at the same time, can think that Joe Burrow is playing the quarterback position at an unreal level and also think that he's not the MVP of the league. And that's what I believe in. And so I think the way he's played has been unbelievable. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the world, if not the best right now. But I still think there's other guys that are in the MVP conversation.
Yeah, and we're allowed to celebrate all of them. And I think that's the thing that gets lost in this.
It's okay, folks, for us to be happy that quarterbacks are playing football well. Guess what that is?
It's
good
win.
For the game. It's good for TV. It's good for ratings. It's good for everyone that your quarterback's balling.
Yes, the only team it might not be good for is Carolina, because I look at 2 guys that were in their building that are absolutely balling out of their minds right now. The first one, Baker Mayfield. I mean, having a career year, it's so fun to root for this guy. He's so competitive, and you see it, whether it's him making a throw down the field, whether it's him headbutting one of his offensive linemen, getting out in front of a running play to block for his guys. I mean, the guy loves to play the game of football, and this year that love and that, gritty toughness and all those things have been matched by, statistically, the things he's doing. He's top 5 in yards. He's top 5 in touchdowns. Really, I think he's just behind Joe Burrow in those 2 categories. But this is a guy, it's a comeback story because, yes, he was the number 1 overall pick, but you want to talk about adversity after getting kicked to the curb by Cleveland and going to Carolina, then getting kicked to the curb and going to the Rams, and then having to hit reset on his career with the Bucs. I mean, when he signed with the Bucs, it was like, all right, yeah, we'll see what happens, but he earns the new contract. He's now far exceeded the expectations of that contract and outplayed it in year 1. And you want to talk about a guy, we go back to the Tom Brady debate or controversy earlier in the year, but
bringing joy to the facility.
That's it. Like Baker, they asked him to come in to bring joy back to football for the guys that weren't having any fun. And you want to talk about the perfect quarterback to do that. And yes, he is doing that, but he's doing it now at an elite level to where he's going to get these guys in the playoffs. Like we talked about, they're going to make some noise. And I don't think anybody really wants to play them because their offense is explosive. Your buddy Liam Cohen has those guys going. Bucky Irving coming out of nowhere as a rookie has been unbelievable this year. And they believe in Baker, and there's a lot of belief both on the offensive and defensive sides of this football. I love the Bucs in the playoffs. Let's just hope that they take care of business and get in, which they should. But the other guy, Sam Darnold, who I fell into this a little bit too. I think everybody fell into like, let's wait and see, this is going to stop at some point. It's going to fall apart. And it hasn't. And guess what? He keeps getting better. And that performance that he put on display on Sunday, career high for him in yards, was unbelievable. It wasn't just, throwing screen passes and dinking and dunking. This dude throws the ball down the field. He's got great receivers. He's got a great scheme. He's got a great coach that believes in him. But, you want to talk about being loved by your teammates. That scene when he comes off the field from doing his interview and goes into the locker room of them chanting his name and waiting for him and throwing water all over. Unbelievable.
I loved him saying he didn't know what to do with his hands. He's trying to dance. He's trying to be cool, trying to be in the moment. He's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so great. I think the other cool shot of that, Fitz, is they show that I saw this morning, it's a clip of Kevin O'Connell. He's standing back and he's letting all that happen. He's kind of leaning against the wall and he's just watching them celebrate. And I think it's awesome to see a guy who, obviously tried to make a career as an NFL quarterback, and then becomes a coach. And then now here he is, like just the dude KOC is, being with him in LA with the Rams at the time, just an amazing human being, like as a man. And then to have the success as a coach, the life you see him talking to not only his own players, we've seen some cool moments this year with him talking to quarterbacks from the other team after the games, like having just a private moment with them, talking in their ear. And obviously, guys are mic'd up, so we get a chance to see some of that. But I know KOC's only doing it because of the heart he has. But to see his impact on Sam Darnold and that team, and you got to think, I don't know, when I was looking at it, I'm watching it and I'm thinking in my mind, I see Kevin kind of leaning against that wall and seeing a little of himself in Sam Darnold. Like, because you always kind of dreamed of what you could have been, should have been, all of us, right? There's always things you think about. And I just think he probably sees a little bit of like, man, what a freaking cool thing that we've created here. A little bit of like seeing Sam be somebody who people thought couldn't play in this league, regardless of where he was picked. There was a moment when everyone thought this dude has no chance. I'm not talking about where we were picked. This guy has no chance to play quarterback in the league at a successful level. To see him there in that moment and Kevin kind of watching him celebrate, I just think there's got to be a little piece of him that makes him feel a little fulfilled too. So it's awesome to watch the vibe this team has. And we always talk about vibe checks, Fitz. You think about Brian Flores. You think about Brian Flores, the comeback story there of obviously how Miami ended to what he's doing in Minnesota. You talk about Kevin O'Connell. You talk about Sam Darnold. This offense, all the weapons they have, maybe they're a lot better than we give them credit for. Maybe Minnesota is for real. And we might find out as soon as this Sunday how for real they are.
Yeah, I can't wait. Because, again, that nobody's talking about them, right? And finally, we have to talk about them because they could potentially be the 1 seed if they go into Detroit and beat them. But just a couple other cool things about Sam. Top 5 in passing yards and passing touchdowns this year. The most touchdowns he ever threw for in his career was 19 before this. He's got 35 this year. And then the most yards he ever threw for was 3,024. He's now got over 4,100 yards. It's been an unbelievable story. And the guy's put in the work. He's been patient. And the plan that he took, he went to San Francisco to say, look, I need to get in this type of system. I need to learn from the best coaches out there. And he ends up with KOC in that same system. And there's a reason why Daniel Jones said, hey, I'll go, let me go sign and just, stand on the sideline and observe for a little bit, because Kevin O'Connell right now is the quarterback whisperer in the NFL, I feel like, with the job that he's done.
Yeah, I think what's cool too on that, Fitz, is I was talking about this a little bit earlier when we had their game earlier this year with the Rams, is you look at it too, like in San Francisco, go be around Kyle Shanahan and Brian Griese, a former player as well, right? And then you come to Minnesota and you got Josh McCown and you got Kevin O'Connell and you got guys that have been around it, forever. And so it's like, man, it's neat to see, to me, like former players and also other guys having these resurgences around them. And it's kind of like, hey, you know what? Who else could tell you, man? I look at you, like when you always, we watch a game and you see a quarterback struggling, you're like, man, I want to get a hold of that guy. Like, I wonder if I can get his number. I want to talk to him. It's just cool to see, to me, some of that going on in our league. Detroit's a great example of former players all over that roster of coaching staff, that you see this impact. And now we see, former players getting head jobs in college, which has happened this past week with multiple guys, with Sean Jackson, Michael Vick. Come on, D-Jack, baby. I can't wait to hear how those meetings go. D-Jack's a meeting legend in the NFL. That's for sure. I
don't know. Has a head coach ever fallen asleep in a meeting that he's been leading, or no?
It might. We're going to find out.
Love you, D-Jack. I love you,
D-Jack. He's the man. But yeah, I think that's neat, man, to see a resurgence there of players coming back to coaching the game they love. I love seeing it. I hope he keeps going, because it's been cool to watch.
Yeah, Thad Lewis is another guy, a quarterback that I played with that's in Tampa right now with Baker. That's been cool to see.